to see you grow, excel in business. And today, it's going to be a different Saturday. Like any other Saturday, today is going to be a different Saturday. I've got someone who's so much also in business, and that is other than Mr. Kadama Johnson. Some others know him as Young Mayor. And in today's show, we'll be discussing much about unlocking your financial limits. Many of us find ourselves with so many limitations to grow financially, to reach our financial goals, to achieve our financial targets. For all the other years, we've been discussing about ban the fear to do business. And for now, we want to focus much about unlocking your financial limits. Are you tired of seeing yourself with so many debts and having so much expenses? It could be expenses on business, it could be expenses because of your earnings, maybe from your salary, all that. So in the Capital Tank, we discuss ideas that make you understand how you can go about your money, how you can use your money, how you can generate your money, how you can grow your money, and how you can protect your money. Today, when I was coming to discuss this topic, we had so many discussions prior to this show, and much of our discussion was much to discuss about why do we find ourselves not moving financially. Is that the same question you have today? We've seen so many, and some of us have always been trying to think that maybe things will change. We always become positive. But like how the Bible says that faith without actions is dead. That is according to the book of James. For those who believe in the Bible, you can go there and read. But now that's why today, when we are coming to this show, we want you to understand what limits your financial growth. What has affected your financial growth? And how can you get helped? Ignatius is a business coach, is an entrepreneur, is an investor. I also have businesses, I do businesses, and that's why I'm much passionate about inspiring people into business. And every time, wherever I move around and I find someone doing something that has added something on the community or is interested in growing people financially, I always associate myself with such people. You know, the world has moved. Others are moving, others are static. Others are moving financially, others are static financially. Physics has it clear that we either a body possesses two types of energy. That is kinetic and potential. So even when we are in business, there are those who are possessing potential energy. When you possess potential energy, that is the time when you are not moving. When you possess kinetic energy, that is the time when you and your business is moving. You could have seen so many years what you have planned, what you've set, and how you have come, either what you have managed to achieve, and what could have affected you to achieve what you really wanted to achieve. And on this show, allow me introduce to you my guest and my friend. He's here. He's a very someone who I really get inspired to. He created a city in a city. He created space in space. And that is him. And I think, Mr. Kadama, you can talk to the viewers.
Good morning, viewers. As a God-fearing person, I would say praise the Lord.
Amen.
It's by God's grace that I'm here before you. And through his guidance, I will have to be used as a vessel to ensure that I disseminate the information that is worth you are listening to. By names, I'm called Mr. Mwangusha Kadama Johnson. Others call me Younger Mayor. The reason why they call me Younger Mayor, and it is one of the things to unlocking your potential. I unlocked my potential
To become
20 years ago. But then I was 30 years. I became one of the first persons in the history of Uganda to contest as a mayor in the then 14 municipalities and 1 city. Why was I called a Younger Mayor? Because I came at a time when mayors are presumed to be old people, people of experience, people of knowledge, and people who are propertied.
Hey.
So by that time, at a younger age of 30, we had the mayor, Kampala City Council, by the names of the late John Sevana.
You still have their names?
Yes.
You know
all
the contestants of that time?
Sevana was in 70s or so. Then there was Langoya of Gulu, was also an old man. There was Stephen Bewa Yonsubuga of Jinja Municipality, was also an old man, and others. And the people he was contesting with in Fort Portras Municipality by then, which is now a city. I had Asabar Yonga, he was older than I was. I had Bobo Kaganda, because I remember what makes him older than I am. In 1983, I was young, at an age of 9, I attended his wedding. And we were the boys who could sit on mats, and our grandparents bring us food when we seated on mats. It could not be availed an opportunity to sit on a high table. So he was older than me. Imagine a younger boy, child at 9, another person wedding, and there's the very person I'm contesting with after a couple of years. So by that time, that's that. And myself, one, I'm a God-fearing person because I'm born again. For the last 16 years, I've been born again in the Anglican Communion, that is Anglican Church, and I'm a Christian of St. John's Cathedral of Rinsol Diocese. And then I'm a member of Gideon's International, a professionals and businessmen's organization which spreads the word of God or does evangelism or ministry through the giving of the Bible, the word of God, which gives in hospitals and other places. At least I know many listeners know Gideon's International. More to that, in ministry, I serve at my church. I've been there for a couple of years, close to 12, volunteering as a lay leader in church, doing this and that on parish councils, development projects at the church, at even diocesan and provincial level in the Church of Uganda. And I'm friendly to most of the bishops in the province of Uganda, the former archbishops and the present day archbishop. So on that basis, therefore, I feel what I'm talking, I'm an informed point of view. And professionally, professionally, I did business studies. Then after some time out of passion, I switched to public relations and marketing. From 1998, I was in Kampala. 97, I was working as a public relations and a marketing consultant for most of the corporate companies. I think when we're talking in the course of discussion, we have to learn what I did.
Okay,
so coming into politics, if I would say I'm a politician, that wouldn't leave us with any doubt.
So, Mr. Kadama, the young mayor, we want to look at, I know at some point you were employed.
Yeah, no, I have never been employed, if I would say so, because I believe in two things, creating a working relationship and comparing.
So from graduation, after graduation, how did you start your journey into entrepreneurship?
No, even before graduation, I was an entrepreneur because I grew up in a business-friendly environment whereby my parent, I'm sorry she died 30 years ago, may her soul rest in peace.
Oh.
We grew up in a business environment, and my elder brothers and other sisters, At home, because if you can say how old am I today, I'm 50 years and 14 days. Because a couple on 9th December, I celebrated my golden jubilee of 50 years. So, from childhood, my parents, one of my parents, my mother, was a businesswoman in Fort Portal City, the present day Fort Portal City, could deal in transport, could deal in coffee, produce, and many others. So from the time we were nurtured, and me from the time I joined Nyakasura School in 1985, because of the knowledge I had, and from that time, our parents could give us responsibility. We go to purchase coffee in the villages, in around Fort Portal and Rwenzori region. We had transport vehicles for trucks and omnibuses and pickups. Could ferry, by that time, ferrying passengers, carrying other produce and other things. So at least I know I've been in environment. And when I went to study, my area of interest had been, at least I became a lawyer, a journalist. Those were my two interests.
Yeah.
But reaching there, things didn't work out well. I could not be enrolled at university as a lawyer by training. Neither was I enrolled for journalism. I switched to a business training institute, present day Macquarie University Business School. So I did professional business training. So from then, even before that, I had a lot of challenges as a business person because I had the business mind in me. I was living in Kampala, having traveled all the way from Fort Portal. Although my parents were doing business, but I was brought up with the urge of self-reliance.
Now, I have one big question that I normally find with many young people. You've talked that when after university, your mindset was to start up a business, right?
Yes.
And rarely, many of our young people, many of our graduates, find it easy to have that mindset and implement it.
Yeah.
Like they think, others suggest that maybe it could be better if you first get a job. That's why my question was like, maybe at some point you were employed.
Okay.
So what would you advise, or how did you manage to survive in that period from university, then now start to look at how you can start a business with, I don't know whether you had capital or you had money or you had connections, something like that, and unlocking our financial limits, because some of the things that limit our financial limits are the things that either relate to our mindset, relate to our attitude, and how we perceive certain things in community or in society.
Okay.
So from that discussion, from that point of view, how was it possible that for you, immediately after university, you sort of go to business, yet others say, but I remember by your time, during your time, opportunities were still many to those who wanted to work with maybe like institutions, like government, like NGOs, because they were the demand for graduates, for university students could have been higher compared to today. Because today we have so many universities that give out, where we are seeing many graduates come out of university, thousands and thousands. Actually, almost every day there is a university that is having a graduation. Unlike your time. Now, from that point of view, how was it possible that for you, instead of walking around the streets to look for a company, to look for an organization that can give you a job, your mindset was towards how do I create jobs? I have had a chance to visit a place which you have created for people that want to rent within a city, and it is also becoming a city in the middle of the what? Of the city. Yeah. With such mindset, that is what we want our viewers today to understand, the journey, that journey to unlock your financial limits. Because there are things that perhaps me and you could have fears could have had, like, these are biggest challenges, I cannot overcome these. So starting from there, try to give us more light on this.
Okay. So now I'm very grateful for your observation, if I would say the reason why I took to business, one, there is the element of creating an enabling environment. That environment was enabling in a sense that from the time of my childhood, I knew that the environment I'm living in should be challenged to see what I can survive on. Two, our parent, our late mother, groomed us in a sense that you should be self-reliant and independent-minded.
Okay.
So when I joined the
Self-reliant and
independent-minded.
Independent-minded.
Yeah, and
I get the point.
I would say one of the passionate things one would think about is creating an independence of mind, the mindset. Because when you are always dependent on something, like when you talk of, when someone graduates, you think of getting a job. I'm telling you with a good reason to believe, and rightly so, that during our time, job opportunities were not as available as today, if I would say so. Although today there are many graduates who are taking up the mantle of career development. So very few people are graduating, and there are very few job opportunities, and they are very competitive. Even getting a professional is not easy. If I can tell you, amongst all my colleagues I studied with, we got a challenge. Not all of us in university. Like you can you've heard, even at international level, we have one of our greatest colleagues we're always proud of, called David Kasimwiri. He's the country representative for UPS, United Parcel Services, a courier company based in America, and second to DHL in market share. Kasingwire, we joined with him Nyakasura. Then he got an advantage. After leaving university, imagine, he was one of the brilliant guys. Even when he finished university, he majored in economics. As an economist, he had no job. He had to run and go and work and start vending newspapers for one of the street vendors. And the man, for your information, was an ignorant man. But Kasingwire went, sold newspapers on the streets for close to 1 year.
What do you learn from there?
What I learned from him is the knowledge you get, we should exercise it. So he was a trained economist and a business professional. So there is one thing, not having self-confidence in yourselves, then bragging about this scenario of professionalizing your thinking that that thing is too low for me. But I have to be frank to you. What was the outcome? This is what you call continuous improvement in whatever you're doing.
Continuous improvement.
Yeah, and that is a Japanese word for it's Kaizen. And that principle has really helped me, and some of my colleagues always talk about it. So the very person we are talking about, Kasingwire, after 1 year, he became one of the vendors, newspapers, a news agent around the streets. Then 1 year and a half, the proprietors of New Vision Monitor publications identified him as a nationwide distributor. So
wait, from
vending on the streets.
Vending from the streets.
No, working for someone, paying him something small.
That is commission based.
Your commission or something small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now to a country.
He became a country distributor within 1 year.
What can we learn from that point?
So what you can learn from that point is being focused and visionary. And what we learn, we should always exercise.
Is it why we have many young people look for jobs instead of creating jobs? Because at some point, when you look at that point, coming to work for commission is not an easy thing. Two, there are so many struggles that salespeople pass through, which at some point I would say that the young and even the middle people, because we have been talking about the young people and the young people, but again we have also had old people who are old in age but young in financially.
Yeah, that's fine. So I was coming to that point because imagine having the passion for something, for business. He would have looked for a job to do something, but he put all his effort in that job of vending newspapers.
All his energy.
All his energy in 1 year.
His attitude.
And
he could have realized.
Let me tell you something funny. Because he's so a bosom friend to me. We've been friends since 1985 up to today. And as I talk now, I'm one of his marketing consultants in Dax Couriers. If I can tell you what it is now, after that, 2 years after, they came United Parcel Services looking for the network of a courier company. And in vending newspapers, it was countrywide. He formed a courier company. That company by then, the one which was vending newspapers, was called Dax Agencies. Then 2 years later, he forms Dax Couriers. Then Dax Couriers, after its inauguration, there comes an international organization doing the courier business, United Parcel Services. It partners with him. It does everything, makes him a country representative, brings him everything that's required. And then 1 year after, he was identified as one of the best courier partners in Africa, Caribbean area, and he became the first person. From today, he's an international business person of acclaim.
I have almost 3 things I'm learning from this. 1, your determination. 2, your attitude.
Yeah.
3, your passion.
Yes.
If you do something that you love, and do it with all your energy, there are no doubts that you can break your financial limits.
Yeah, that's fine. Because if you can look into that thing of resilience and determination is very important. Why I bring, for synthetic handling purposes, Kasingwere? He's not the only person. Because he was so resilient.
There could be some people who don't know more about him.
To tell you what is of him today, he's one. And what that? There is one thing I'm going to tell you. They say, I want to tell you 2 important principles which make business successful. 1, they say the success of any undertaking or any business is to be the only one with some secret information.
Wait.
Yeah. The success of any business is to be the only one with some secret information.
I need some.
So what I'm saying, why these
it.
days businesses are becoming a problem. When we're talking or when we're doing economics, there was what you call monopoly. That's why you see if I give you an example of the
is that not practiced by capitalists?
No, it's a capitalistic arrangement. Let me tell you, things are changing. There is monopoly, oligopoly. You know, we are in a free market economy. So there was monopoly. There was a policy that was in the business world where given companies could monopolize businesses. If I would tell you at international level, we had oil companies. We had the Shell, Total, Caltex, ExxonMobil, which later they had merging things. So if one was getting fuel products from Shell or Caltex or Total, if a manager found you doing this and that in one of the bigger companies, because they had their only marketing secrets or basics. That's why you see monopolizing. Coca-Cola has a reason why it was monopolizing business. Benz, as a brand product, knew why they were doing that. There was monopoly. But these days,
repeat that point. Someone needs to get
the success of every business is to be the only one with some secret information. Let me tell you one thing, which is on my side. So me, when it came for Portrait 20 years ago, I saw potential of a washing bay. I started small. So within like 1 month, because I had the passion for the business, why did I like it? It is employment creating for the common person. 2, it was making my place very active. And I had seen this thing through one of the presidential advisors of the president and his young brother, General Salim Saleh. I was working at the National Theatre in Kampala City, Then all places which were not occupied, which were busy, not busy, which were bushy, Salam Saleh could go and set their washing bay. And if we go today and find out those places, if I can tell you, one of the places near Kampala City Council area, it houses a very big house complex where there are foreign affairs offices, Chinese offices.
Do you think it becomes easy for someone, a graduate, who has done a degree in business administration, a master's in business administration, to be discussing areas where you can start small, like a washing bay business?
No, I was trying to explain.
Can't this person think you are mad?
No, let me tell you what happened. When I saw why I'm telling you how things begin small, having a success. The success of everything to be the owner of some information. I was telling you that when he came back, he realized, but now there is a place. I have my place in Fort Portal. It's a big place, close to almost like 6 plots of land of 5 step by 100. That's big. So what I did, it was bushy, and it has not been of any value for the last 10 years. So I said, let me get people, they clean it, do it, and the only advantage they had, the place was waterlogged and there was some water. So beginning small, I want to tell you the secret I had. So people came within like 3 months. People flocked the whole place. I got buses, I got everything. Other competitors, they would be competitors, started asking, we want to find out why is this person doing this business. But to me, the secret I had behind me, I had explored the potential, like you say, unlocking the financial limits. Because I was limited. Other people were saying, why don't you come and reclaim this place? Why don't you go to the bank, they give you this? Why don't you buy machines? But to me, I said, no, I want to unlock my financial limits because I don't want to think big. One, I have free labor. There are some very many unemployed youth, close to 60 or 70, who had nowhere to put it from. I brought them there. Two, I didn't have anything to do. And the policies and conditions by then were not as hard as they would be. Because if you begin, it was a blessing in disguise. The municipal council authorities by then were yearning to see how do people come in and invest in our area which has no investors. So I came in as an investor and many people learned from me. So I put their power, I put everything. The secret I had that there was a demand for cleaning, washing of vehicles and other equipments. And many people started opening up washing bays.
You know, when we talk about starting small, others do not understand the idea behind this. Because starting small, but thinking big is a better position to unlock your financial limits. Because when you look at the time when you started and the time where you are today, is it the same?
No, it's very far. Because if I can tell you, I could not earn anything. Now it is they have a multiple of businesses. And then the only secret I had was that I was thinking of getting a one-stop shopping center. And one-stop shopping center. And that's what we call, in whatever you're doing, you should brand yourself. You should look for a brand product. You should look for a brand name. You should look for brand image. You should look for brand loyalty. So I looked for this washing bay worked as a brand product. It's like in MTN, as one of our international communication organizations or companies, when they came here on the planet, if they are based in South Africa, when they're doing communication, they started with the sale of airtime. How does one get airtime? So selling airtime, they had to look for phones, phone sets, they had to look for many other things, accessories, and now with time they have mobile money and what. But the brand product is airtime. We have phones here. Before I do anything, you can put the airtime of 1,000, 10,000, monthly pay, yearly pay, but what is the brand product is airtime. Anybody who subscribes to MTN first thinks of getting airtime. And then phone sets and other things are secondary. So as I talk, I had that small business as a brand product. Even when you ask me, is the washing bay there? But I have many multiple businesses which are a more investment profiting than the washing bay.
So I look at branding.
Yeah.
You've talked about branding.
Yeah.
And in business, this sounds to be very important.
Yeah.
And at some point, I would say that even when you're an individual, you can brand yourself.
Yeah, individual.
You can choose to brand yourself as an individual. You can choose to brand yourself, to brand as a company.
Okay, let me tell you the secret behind my success in business.
That's what I was most interested in.
The secret behind my success, that I identified myself as a person who works for the common man, the low-income earners. And more to that, there are two things in life which make life. There is politics and religion, and business is secondary to everything. You see, one, I'm a politician. Everybody was endeared to me because I was a politician. So ask yourself, why do I get all this? That is the secret behind my success.
Working with
the common man. And how
starting businesses?
Because one, I branded myself as a person who is working for the common person. Wow. When I became a politician, contested as a mayor for Portrush municipality by then 20 years ago, people saw in me ideas. Because there was no platform, like I'm saying, creating an enabling environment. Then comes an element, I had branded myself. People said, they identify me as a politician who comes to solve false problems. Two, branding.
But wouldn't you solve the problems when you are an entrepreneur without being a
but what I'm saying, that is the success. Should always see what comparative advantage do I have over other people, over an undertaking. Like I would say, you Celtel, but then Celtel, now it is Airtel. When it came to Uganda to do business, they had an advantage of communication mishaps. We are all relying on UTL. So, Airtel, the former Celtel, came to Uganda when there was a communication problem. And they had to change legislations and the like. So they started working. And more to that, when they had already branded themselves, they had created an atmosphere of business communication and everything. Then comes MTN. MTN, do you know the secret behind their success? They became when they were low-priced. Low-priced. Their fares were nice. If I can tell you.
By that time?
Yeah, let me tell you, because I can tell by 1998, I was working as a consultant in business professionalism in Kampala, in most of the big organizations. And I was an acclaimed events manager because I had business at the National Theatre. I was doing printing and designing for all the corporate companies, for all the conferences. So I was the one handling events management, printing conference items, banners, t-shirts, everything, name it. So by that time, mobile phone business was not as famous as it is today.
Yeah, like today, everywhere you step, there is some...
Mobile phone was a preserve for the haves and needed to be very wealthy. People who had mobile phones were those, the big executive officers, ministers and the like. Because by that time, a telephone set was 1.5 million.
A telephone set?
Yeah. And if I can tell you, can convert now, 1.5 million Uganda shillings. And transport fares in Kampala by then, around Kampala was 200 shillings. You could move from Kampala to 3 kilometers from Kampala was 200 shillings. Can you imagine 1.5 times that? How much was the telephone set?
A bit expensive.
Expensive. And everybody who had a phone, you needed to have been rich to have a phone. And me, because I was information savvy, I had to get what you call a pager. Can you imagine a pager was 500,000.
What is it?
A pager that you can see this phone it looks like. In fact, it looked like exactly this phone it looks like, but it was made like small like this. So it could only disseminate information on they could send SMSs, like we are now sending SMSs. And you needed to be connected to a pager system provider. So by that time we had two companies. One belonged to the present day Minister of Security, General Jim West. It was called Uganda Paging Services. Then another one belonged to the William Pike, the proprietor of Capital Radio and the former executive director for New Vision. It was called Paging Services. So a pager, you could do, like you have before in these local telephone fixed line systems. There was a system, a switchboard. We had pager numbers and we could use these fixed lines. So in my office I had a fixed line. So to fast track who was going, they had to call my office. No, they had to call me, send a message here on my pager, wherever I was. They say, please meet me. Please come for a meeting. Come, I have a business discussion. I just get like this. Then they send me an SMS. And it was expensive also. It was 500,000. And the monthly pay was 30,000. And you could pay for 6 months. So that means like acquiring it, you needed to close 700,000. Almost half the equivalent of a telephone by Celtel. So when MTN came, the highest phone for the common man to get it, it was 320,000. Here you could get a handset, you could get everything, you could get a line and everything. And by that time, buying airtime was not so simple. Now they rated on the advantage of the expensive nature of Celtel, then the paging system, and theirs were a bit lower. So MTN took us by storm. Everybody at least acquired it because Airtel had already created an enabling environment, highlighted people on how mobile phones are of importance. Then government also took an advantage. They got more revenue from MTN in terms of taxes and everything.
Because of high
sales and everything. Then the secret behind MTN, and in a couple of months, MTN had taken over more businesses than Airtel had. But because Celtel
it was
cheaper, so that is what we call the knowledge and understanding of the findings or the basics of business. That is what unlocks your financial limits.
Now, what are the key lessons that we learn from all what we've been discussing?
So the key lessons you're learning is in whatever you do, should have a visionary approach towards what we are doing. So all these we do in business and tapping your potentials. So the present day business environment is so bad because not all people have focus for the future by virtue of the economic trends and what have you. Because bank loans are becoming the order of the day, unreliable business opportunities, uncontrolled competition. I know in a free market economy you should compete. Then more to that, people do businesses where they do not have knowledge and understanding. There's what you call an effect of someone has done this, I should also do the other thing. And more to that, because of the circumstances prevailing, we know every person is a businessman. But what makes matters worse, not all people are doing business the way it is being done. Some people, because of there being many players in the market, there's no value for money. That's one of the prime considerations. Then more to that, business works on 3 values. That's honesty, trustworthiness, and integrity. Not everyone is honest in business. I know you have been a financial person doing financial services. I remember when you first came to Portugal, we met you. You tried business and you happened to come to my place. You saw what happened. People, you could deal with them, but the honesty was really lacking. Someone give you money, he comes, talks, heaven on earth, but does not fulfill. You give them loans, they don't give you money. They lack honesty. Then trustworthiness, because To be creditworthy, you should have the trust in yourself. You first trust yourself, then others
So that
trust
others
you.
trust you.
Some people don't trust themselves. One is they're not prepared, then the integrity. People have a tendency of entering business for the sake of getting business. That's why there is the highest level of sustainability in whatever they're doing. You cannot sustain a business when you lack anything. Let me tell you, business, they say every man is a businessman. We should not think of business as doing merchandise, this and that. A doctor is a businessman. A lawyer is a businessman.
Now, exactly as we are coming to our another segment in this discussion, unlocking your financial limits, how do I make myself generate more money in what I'm doing? It could be a profession, it could be business. Now, we are going to be looking at scaling your business. You've actually, some of the things you've tried to discuss that touched me deeper was how MTN penetrated the market when there was an existing institution. That is, you've talked about, it was about Celtel, right? By that time. Now, many people are in business. And many are yet to come in business. When I quitted my job and I chose to take a journey to create jobs by making many understand why fear should not hold us to start up businesses. I actually came up to write a book. This is the book that we've been talking about. Burn the Fear to do Business.
That's good.
With ideas that influence you, inspire you to break that fear that holds you to start up a business. Now, that's why I'm coming up to think that now people that have burnt the fear, they have moved from, actually I saw many people were quitting from their jobs, going to start up institutions, going to start up companies, making small businesses, working as freelancers, working on contracts instead of full-time. And that is how all those years, when I came up with this program, Burn the Fear to do Business, normal versus abnormal. I said normal people don't exceed in business. Actually, you have to go abnormal to make yourself excel in business. Now, that's why I'm also, actually, my second book is yet to be, I'm almost completing it. That is Unlocking Your Financial Limits. Now, it's why we are discussing this, it's because it is a book that I want ideas that we can even share here. By the time we come up with the book outside, there are those who cannot read. There are those who can maybe get this information from our discussions. Now, I still have a feeling that there could be secrets in making the business generate for you more money. That is, looking at how you can scale your business.
Okay. To make the story short, there are two things where I need to give you consideration as you do any business. One, you need to position yourself to know, what am I going to do? You position yourself.
That can help you make more money.
Yeah, you position yourself. One, they say every undertaking begins with a decision to try.
Every undertaking begins with a decision to try.
Two, if you can dream it, you can make it. That's why most people, let me repeat it. There are two things which have always guided my principles working. That every undertaking begins with a decision to try. When you started what you are doing, you said, let me try and see. It's already an undertaking. Two, if you can dream it, you can do it. Say, I have a dream, one day we'll do like this.
Don't you think if you don't come up and implement your dream, you may die before you get your dream?
What we call fantasies. There are some people dream for the sake of dreaming. See, to achieve this, one, there are two things. There is vision and position. Positioning yourself, I say, I want to do this. I want to start business. I'm making it now. You position yourself that I'm now set, let come what may.
I think you were trying to...
Under normal circumstances, I will make everything. Then two, you should have vision for your operations. You envision what you should do.
What do you think it takes to get into, to implement the things that you dream about?
No, there are three things. And if you learn this, you will do it. One, you need to make a name and set a future.
Make a name?
Name and set a future. If I can tell you one thing.
Guys, I'm really inspired about this. Make a name
and set a future.
And set
a future.
Now,
let me tell you one thing. You make a name and set a future. Today, as I was coming here, I saw something very amazing and I was amused. Where of all the international oil companies, Shell is still prominent. They made a name and set a future. If you can go to the rural areas in the east, more especially in the east, anybody dismounting out of a vehicle or anything, or wanting to show a sign, a vintage point, or location, would say, leave me at the Shell.
Leave me at Shell.
I'm going to Shell. You leave me at the Shell. A Shell, any petrol station, the villagers, people, the rural people still term it as a Shell.
Everywhere.
A Shell is a petrol station. They know a Shell is a petrol station.
Like how some of us say my car. And
no, not
just,
a car.
I mean.
No,
like,
let me give another example. In Uganda setting, we know Celtel as the first mobile company, mobile phone company. Anybody will tell you, give me a Celtel. My Celtel is like this. As I say, Celtel is like this. So, a Shell, I'm telling you a Shell, a name, you make a name and set a future. Anybody setting up a fuel station, they will say, others say a Shell, because they associate it with a brand name, an international brand name, Shell.
I pick the point.
Yeah. Two, like if I can give you, in most of these cities in Uganda here, in our continent, we have not named our streets, named our buildings, done anything, street furniture. If I can tell you, in Fort Portal, there is a man called Batekateka. Unfortunately, he died like some years back. That man was the first one to have a depot in Fort Portal. And the building where he worked, and even after he had left it, they even tell
Dealing
you...
in drinks?
No, sodas, everything, sodas and beers, and other drinks, sodas, beers, and these other spirits. But then he was an agent for Uganda breweries and other those international, those other companies.
So are you saying he made
a name and set a future? So a name, wherever he goes, they think of Batekateka because he was honest, he was trustworthy, and had integrity. And the building where he was, even up to today, those old people, the legends, tell you, go to Batekateka's building. If an old person, like from my area, tells me, I'm in town, where can I find a person of 70 years or so? Says, find me at Batekateka's building. And Batekateka left the building a long time ago.
The various street.
Then nobody is there. I says, it's just named already. I'm going to tell you brand names. There is Bata. You know Bata Company? It used to sell shoes. Bata Company was on one of the streets where it was first in the 70s. People today call that building, find me at Bata building. There is bookshop. There is a bookshop. Because you remember, the brand, what I'm saying, the nature of business before were few things and making a name. So you ask someone, there are some people here in Fort Portal, in our cities, who have made names, and whenever you talk, like in villages, they would say, meet me at such and such a person's place. And they make names. Like me now, all people who are doing business at my place, they say, find me at Kadama's place. At times they get me and surprised. I hear my name when I'm at my operation area more than 1,000 times a day. Even when in Fort Portal, you can hear my name more than 10,000 times.
I know.
Because everybody says Kadama, Kadama. And on that building, there is no label showing you Kadama or anything. But they have identified with me as a person of passion, because I have always had love for people, doing things. And the other one-stop shopping center, can you imagine when it's made that vision, a position myself that should have one-stop shopping center? I made my mother. My mother died 30 years ago, and she was a prominent business person in Fort Portal City. She was called Kabajirman. So I made 3 years. All the time I came, it was in my mind. I first started as Kabajirman Memorial Business One-Stop Center.
Is that not a full sentence?
No, it was a business name now. Kabajirman Memorial Business Center. Because of the name, my mother was Kabajirman. I wanted to get that full one-stop shopping center, but to capitalize on the name of Kabajirman. One, I had a legacy to defend because she was my mother and she left me the properties, and I had to make sure that I do something where she can be remembered. And that thing endeared me to many people. Say, we're happy if we can hear Kabajirman's son doing this and that. And me, then I formed it. It is now called Kabajirman Memorial Business Park. Irrespective of the name being there, everybody says, find me at Kadama's place. So that is making a name. Two, wherever you go, if you succeed in business, leave a name better than you found it. See? Sorry, leave a place better than you found it.
Leave the
place better than you found it. All these companies come, change everything. Now, MTN came to Uganda, they have left a place better than they found it. Everybody can listen. You can see Umeme, I understand their contract is almost ending. The concession is ending in 2 years' time. But what Umeme has done, it has made sure that each and every household at least can access power. So that is a name already.
Now, I have a major big question that people have been asking me, and in our show today, I would want you also to come in and have something to discuss about it. What is your advice for someone who wants to quit his job because of financial constraints?
So, financial constraints, there are two things which you need to do. You need to do evaluation, critical evaluation, and see, am I breaking even? It's not a question of keeping his business. When you say that things are not working out well, it's better you quit. And where there is an alternative of improving, it's better improve. Under normal circumstances, there are issues where you need consultation. Two, there is networking. If you see things are not working out, some people have not done businesses according to professionalism. Two, they have not scaled what they are doing. You do things just haphazardly. Because when you do things haphazardly, you are not planning, there is no managerial skills. Like you see,
you just jump into and do something.
Management does not mean that you should be educated as a managerial person.
You don't need a PhD to...
You don't need a PhD. If anything, most learned people have never been successful in business, in present day businesses, because they are so rhetorical and they have fear. And some of them are not entrepreneurs. One, they are proud of what they are. Even there are many more opportunities set. So like a person who was more knowledgeable would definitely need, you see, the business in Uganda, in our setup these days, is not professionalized. It is try and error.
Try
and error. See, there are some businesses which organizations are doing for purposes of being felt on the ground. Two, they have really capitalized in whatever they are doing. They have more finances, they have a comparative advantage, and their services, with or without tough conditions, they have to survive. So on that base, therefore, we need to change the mindset. We need to know, because some people have, as we said, enter businesses without doing research. You enter business...
And we have these two categories of people I'm looking at. One, there is someone who's on a job. Like, I got a job with maybe with a company or from an individual, and I'm seeing whatever I'm doing, I'm like, there is
There's that kind of not breaking.
Yes, even
see,
I struggle to pay my rent. I struggle to pay my bills.
In business, there are two things: profit and loss. You do business for profit maximization and avoiding loss. But in the event that you are not making profit, you have to forego the businesses, because losses and liabilities will override your main objective of doing business. I'm happy to inform you that most people have seen the challenges of business and done managerial arrangement at personal level, even at individual, institutional, and organizational level. So, if you are not managing your finances, and most of the important thing to do is to have financial discipline. Some people do business and are taken up by the extravagance of the circumstances.
Can I have discipline when I earn too small?
No, let me tell you financial discipline, what it entails. Someone you find expenditure overrides income. How? There is that kind of extravagance, in spending. There's what you call in economics verblem effect. Verblem effect, whereby someone is extravagant, wants to be felt. Someone like you can see, these small-time businessmen. He's a small-time retailer. His business is worth is almost close to like 50 million or 20. Then he goes to the bank, gets money, and getting money to buy a vehicle to be felt that he's one of the big people around. He goes to a money lender because he wants to buy a big mobile phone. See, expending more than you raise. Then there is an element of we had a discussion the other day. Someone was trying to go out for employment, these migrant workers in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. So what he did, he raised 4 million. He raised 4 million, wanted to go and get a job. Then he failed to go. The other people, there was fraud and they didn't take him. So what he did, he had the loan, he had mortgaged his house to the bank to raise money and go outside to work. And in the due course, he used part of the money to do businesses and set up himself and do this and that. And part of the money was taken too for migrant operation. So time came, he did not get the opportunity to go because of circumstances, based on himself. Then he goes to another person and says, brother, come and bail me out. My house is going. He said, why? I have a mortgage, now I'm going to mortgage my house because I have someone who gave me money. There's no way out I can do. I need to mortgage my house. But then I'm asking myself, why do you think of mortgaging your house to go for a migrant, to become a migrant worker? Yet you can, and even from mortgaging the house, you had some other operations you could do. So someone...
Is this the issue is mindset or understanding mindset. How things get done?
Things get done. See, there is that kind of mindset and then taken by events or verblem effect, because he sees people have gone out to work. When he comes back, he has a nice house, drives a nice car, not unmindful of the fact that they go under tough conditions.
Economics has, like how we were saying it, the bandwagon effect.
Bandwagon effect. How do I benefit? I mortgage my house to go out to work. Then I don't work. Then I look for someone. Then the other person said, instead of asking me more money, as a money lender, now you are going to lose everything. You have lost the 4 million, you have lost the job, you're going to lose the house, and then I will be on your neck.
And I also take what is left.
Then there is another thing I talked of, to leave a place better than you found it. Whenever you do any business, let people learn from you. Don't only think, people think of money. Some people don't give value for money. They're just interested in money. And that is what we call cosmetic development. Because there are issues, there is a long-term projection and short-term
projection.
Benefit. There is short-term benefit and long-term projection with the fruits which can be seen.
Short-term plans and long-term
let me tell you, like I can tell you of recent, it is a trend in Uganda here. With the upsurge of production of spirits, drinks, this and that. Some local people have taken up to producing
Those
low-priced drinks out of local brew, something of that sort.
that can get you drunk when you have just
and
used
targets a market, like in the Rwenzori region or any part of the country or province. He makes these small liquors, because the process of they are labor intensive, they are not cumbersome, they are not, they need not a lot of branding, marketing is minimal. So he comes with a target of, I want to target 500 million. And after producing that product, it dies a natural death. Because his target was, he wanted to raise money. Then he has not left a place better than he found it, because all he wanted was money. But some companies come in, they have to take time. Now we can see, we have bigger companies, Unilever Uganda. I was one time a brand manager consultant. Brand consultant. Because I was working in Unilever Uganda. Because we have Unilever, it has branches, headquarters in Nairobi. They are the ones who produce Omo and other things. So there is one thing I learned. They said the trend of marketing, and that was in 1997. I could work with the brand manager, Jackie Namara. Then after working with that, she went to Stanbic Bank as marketing and what. Then there was a Kimani. So I was telling you that the trend of business by then changed. And Unilever had envisioned a process whereby we moved from the producer to the end user. So by the time these other companies came in, Unilever had already got distributors in the country. That's why most of the producers, that's what brought the business challenges in Chikubo, the biggest business hub in Kampala City. Because most of the traders countrywide would come from far and wide to Chikubo, the business hub. Like you would see in Europe, everybody going to London, people in the US going to New York and then Dubai. But things have changed, people go directly. So they had to get trucks and the distributors up country. So which distributors would also get their trucks and distribute far inside the interior. So these businesses of Chikubo men waiting in Chikubo for a person from Fort Portal, from Arua,
to come and buy
Kamwenge, they could not get them. Because Unilever did directly, they very directly.
Could it be the same issue or the same concern that many of the traders are finding it a terrible time?
Yeah.
Because now, if you look, there are so many companies that have come to do deliverables.
Yeah.
You can be in Fort Portal, order something, and it reaches you. You can be in Arua.
There are two things which have changed business. One is digitization, technology, because some things are ordered online.
So what is our advice to people who are still doing business at that level? Because we want them to unlock their financial limits. What could be our advice to those people that are doing business in the analog style?
So what they can do, now we can change. Instead of moving to Kampala, you can also go online, because some people, you can get a WhatsApp, get anything, then you order your things from Kampala. You do what? You make sure that you deal with those people directly. I know some people cannot deal. That one can help us when we are transmitting money here and there. That money we can always do by mobile phone, by email, by e-commerce and everything. I know it is challenging to learn. So I was talking of how that thing changed. We should also think of from the end user, from the producer, the end user. Now, if like a business person in Fort Portal can get in link with, if you go, you see because the element of middlemen cannot be phased out. Eliminated. Because that's why I'm saying, someone buys a crate of soda, a plastic crate at 10,000, then he opens up a depot and gets their 500 shillings. What advantage are they taking? In town, in the central business district, it's sold at 10. So when you buy one at 10, you get a profit of 500. And the person who is nearer to you, gives you 500, and a day you can say 20, but so you get small profits and earn and make business survive.
So at some point, as you are trying to extend this or explain more about this, I have a feeling that some of the traders need to come up, either register their businesses to these platforms that already exist.
Yeah.
That is one. Or create the platform. But it could, for the beginning, it may need a lot of investment. If you look at Alibaba, if you look at Jumia, if you look at there are many Gigi and others, it could be a bit hard for you to invest in creating such platform where customers can interact with you directly. But if you register with them, you can sell your items through their platforms. And like, I think...
then, there's one thing, what will make everybody survive and what makes you survive is creating or giving value for money. 2 weeks ago, I was in Kampala. You see, I rarely go there, Kampala City. But, you see these multinational organizations, marketing companies and businesses, like game stores, like ShopRite, they don't have closed the shop. Reason being, operational expenses. Before, me, when I was in Kampala 20 years ago, I could go and sell, and do you know what the competitive advantage they had? One, they had tax rebates, tax holidays, and they had incentives as investors. So someone comes and opens up business, and by the time they came, we didn't have products on sale on the market. So they could sell household items of high quality, everything, utensils, everything for use from abroad. Cakes, cookies, eatables, consumables. So, and we didn't have those things, but it was the opening up of the markets in China and everywhere. Now our businessmen and women go directly to China for shopping. So those people, they had their connections out of the country, bring their supplies here and sell. If you could imagine, I was there 2 weeks ago in Kampala. I went to game Oasis, game stores. I got a shock of my life. All they have...
What had happened?
Are consumables only and produced here. Sugar, bread, small things, plastic items. Yet whoever could go there to shop for carpets in the house, for interior designing. Me, I have a liking for seats and these other things like tents. I could not get any. They're not there in Oasis. Because all things, supplies could come from South Africa. So now, when you go up country, like if I'm giving an example of Kampala, and what is coming here now. In Kampala, outside the central business district, all the marketing companies have set base. All businesses, office premises have set base. Why? There is too much competition. The prices are high, fares and the like. So they find it easier, and many people live in the outskirts of the city. If you go to along Entebbe Road has developed at a very terrific speed. With my friend, like I'm seeing vision. I one time worked for Quality Supermarket when I was still a student. Let me tell you, when I was a student, I could do printing and designing. That is what could make money for me. I could work during the day. Then I have evening classes at university. So I could do printing and designing. That sustained me. So the appropriate Apollo of Quality Supermarket, I know most of these people know him, even is international and national and regional. He has a chain of supermarkets and he started locally. He had a supermarket on Martin Road in Kampala, but now he has a chain. Chiwatule, Luboa, Kitende, he has Ntinda, he has close to 5. But ShopRite had only 2 branches and they closed the shop. Why? Because Apollo has capitalized on the market the outskirt markets. And this
Than
the
centers.
city now. Now if you can imagine in Fort Portal here, most of the beautiful and big hotels are now being set out of the central business district. Like in Ruengoma along Wamba Road, we have the best hotels. Now there is someone putting up a 5-star hotel, the first of its kind. Very powerful.
I've seen the structure.
The structures.
Under construction.
When you go any other places, there is an upsurge of business. What do I mean? People have changed the mindset. There are many business opportunities, and anybody who wants to succeed in business should always do what we call Kaizen, continuous improvement. Unless and until you improve on your business operations.
I've seen Ham create also villages into cities. Go and develop is very deep.
Let me tell you, when I was in Kampala, when I just went to Kampala in 1992, I had a flat on William Street. That place which was developed was a no-go zone. Lumpen, vagabonds on the street. People could defecate along the streets. Me, I had a flat on William Street. Whenever there was an international match, do you think people could watch, could enter Nakivubu?
I don't know.
Very few could go, but others could pitch camp on the flats along the street, because it was just near. All flats were vintage points for everyone to see the match in the football match. And even, do you know that on weekends, we could get money sustainers for close to a month from the people who could come and mount on our flat, because it had a very strategic point. When we have like 100 or 200 people on the flat, right from floor number 1, floor number 6. If like we was charging 2,000 or 3, we charge for 200 or 3, and you raise money.
From your own perspective, do you see opportunities in Uganda?
There are very many untapped opportunities. To begin with, Fort Portal.
Which could they be?
No, Fort Portal is an investment destination. We still have very many. That's why we are thankful to our president. He has always been. I remember when there was too much opposition to his policies, people did not like him as a person, because he had made them move out of power. So me, I have been a proponent of Museveni's ideals of the revolution from my childhood, because I started supporting him at an age of 8 in 1982, because my mother was a strong supporter of UPM, his first party. Then in 1985, there are the people who could be collaborators, and myself was a collaborator. So I joined the movement system, the freedom fighters movement, at an age of 10, because we could collaborate. Our mother was always in prison. We were the ones who could disseminate information between prison and home and other important people. And me, at one time I had the opportunity to share the same bed with the big generals in Uganda here. The day Fort Portal was captured, I had the opportunity to guard all the equipment, military equipment, in the room where Jim Mwezi was residing. And Mwezi then was in charge of intelligence. So I'm trying to bring that kind of thing to know what it is. So when Museveni started globe-trotting to look for investors, we were saying, oh, this man is wasting investors' money. He had to go to UK to negotiate the arrangement between the Asians, their return and repossession of their properties. And after that, industries came back on board. So what I'm saying, unless we change and see the trend of events, the Chinese coming. So what you're saying, our areas, we should position ourselves for investment. I was very grateful. You can see I'm handling a bag here. It's this one. This thing happened when Zoli Investment Expo was to unveil, invest and transform. That was in January 2020. This was organized by the coordinator of operational segregation, none other than General Salim Saleh. In the Rwenzori region, all people came to tap investment opportunities. And what do we do? What do we see? We are seeing people coming. You see these mountains of the Moon University, starting small. Professor Gumayo merged with some few people who have integrity, People have done things who have really seen it all. Professor Gumayo, Justice says Manyindo, Major General, Kano Botimi, Tom, who is even the present-day Minister of Tourism. These old men of wisdom and thought.
As you say, that there are opportunities, right?
Yeah.
But we've seen, as you say, if you look at how the government has also helped or come in to support some of the projects. However, we still have challenges that maybe could be resolved or solved by entrepreneurs or by leaders. Now, for instance, we are seeing prices move too high and the government continue to borrow. Don't you think this also has an effect on unlocking people's financial
at
limits?
macro and micro level? We have no control, because you can see globally the economy has not been doing well. Reason being, of the pandemic of COVID-19, many things had to change. In Uganda, we have been having an economy which has not been operational close to 2 years. So you see, many things didn't work out well. Even borrowing, see, no man is an island entire on himself. But for governments have been borrowing, and even their loans, which have always been there. We need infrastructure development. We need everything, such that in the event that nothing can be done, because remember, right now as I talk, I'm proud to inform you that the people of Toro, of which I'm one of them, Toro region, 7 years ago formed what you call Toro People's Conference. We have always been lamenting. That's why I come to my prime thing. You have always, when we've been talking, they say the causes of problems in Africa is to blame other people for your own problems. Because they talked of three things, pillars, which have always been guiding me. One, I talked of, you make a name and set a future. Two,
so what's wrong with us Africans to make a name and set a future?
No, setting a name and making a future. You have seen people making names, as I've told you. If we can begin from where we are in Toro. These three gentlemen, they have made a name in whatever they have done. Professor Gumayo is an international person, a lecturer, everybody, an academician, is an educationist, is a politician, a diplomat. Says Manyindo is a judicial officer of high acclaim. Tom Butima has been a government leader, he has been a community worker. So coming up, they tapped our limited potential. How? They saw there is one pillar in development. There are two pillars. Two pillars, important pillars. One is education. Then there was human resource development. So they came up with an idea of forming a university. Do you know how they started? They have tapped the potential and have limited their financial limits. They have always avoided anything. So the university, which was started like 15 years ago, now has been taken over by government because it has been a position. They have envisioned what we want. Many things happened, and it was the host of this thing I'm talking about, the Enzoli Investment Expo. Do you know that what was benefited? I remember I was one of the participants. We got, having got the element of Fort Portal being earmarked as an tourism city, which has an element of investment, tourism investment destination. One, this thing, what has helped us is to take Fort Portal out of the world to the world and bring the world to Fort Portal. That is a cash word, creating wealth amongst ourselves. So Fort Portal is now known, the region is known, people are coming to do investment. One, people have invested in education, people have invested in everything. I remember during the Enzoli Expo, there was a German company, Belgium company, came in the presence of the President of the Republic of Uganda, who was the chief guest of that day, in January 2020. They signed a communique with the government of Uganda in collaboration with the Mountains of the University. They are going to set up a 5-star hotel which will handle hospitality, training and offer hotel industry services. I'm sure it's yet to begin. On that very expo, many interventions were made. People in the whole country, in each and in the ministries, departments and agencies, pitched camp for close to 1 week in Fort Portal, identifying all the avenues of investment. We had a lot of opportunities, and I'm sure we are capitalizing. Myself, let me tell you what I benefited. I saw the potential in Fort Portal in tourism. So as I've told you, on 9th December, I clocked 50 years of age. As part of a milestone in my Golden Jubilee celebrations, I opened up a forest park. It's a tourism attraction center sitting on 6 acres of land. A forest park which shall have a camping site, both car camping, tent camping, and any other picnics and the like. I have already designed cottages, bandas, guest houses, and fortunately enough, I have 2 trees where I'm going to build tree houses. Already as I talk, the futures which are there, what I discovered, having seen a potential in tourism, opening what is lacking. I know there are many other tourist attractions. I realized the area where I saw environmental protection. There was a wetland, there is a mountain, and I formed a prayer mountain. And the name of our business or undertaking with one of my hobbies we are partnering, it's called the Nyakitokoli Cornerstone Forest Park and Prayer Mountain. Why the name Nyakitokoli? Why the brand name? Nyakitokoli derives its name from a river which runs from Karangura sub-county in Rwenzori Mountains, and it meanders in the middle of all those north division of Fort Portal City, and it drops in River Mpanga.
When we get out of the break, we'll be looking at taking advantage of the problem to create your opportunities and unlock your financial limits. We are going shortly for a break, and when we get back, we'll continue with unlocking your financial limits.
Fort TV, stay entertained.
Welcome to Kabarole. Join young people's quest for trusted family planning innovation. Young people in Kaole district in western Uganda are bombarded with false information and misconceptions on family planning, both offline and online. Young people's lives are increasingly influenced by digital technology, such as social networking, instant messaging, and browsing websites. This connectivity creates unprecedented opportunities to access trusted family planning information. According to Uganda AIDS Commission report of 2020, Kaole district ranked second highest with HIV/AIDS prevalence rate, standing at 14.6% and 35% rate of teenage pregnancy. It is from this background that young people in the district are using innovative digital technology to provide solutions to these gaps on their sexual, reproductive, and health and family planning. Reproductive Health Uganda, together with Safe Hands, have engaged young people through human-centered designs. These include an AI-powered chatbot, Ask RHU, that instantly answers SRHR questions confidentially. Outreach tablets for peer educators to provide outreach services with engaging digital content. Hello, my name is Claire Kagaju. I'm a peer educator from Fort Portal, Uganda. I'm going to be talking about outreach tablets. These are electronic tablets that are portable. These tablets are one of the tools we've been using to go to field to spread information to the young people and the community at large. These tablets are well equipped with SRHR information. We have an app called it's the Safe Hands app. This app has a lot of information about SRHR at large. We talk about menstruation, we talk about contraceptives, the things that mainly affect young people and the community at large anyway. Then these tablets help us monitor and evaluate the progress of the project because they record data in real time so that we see how far we're progressing in our work. And one thing the tablets have really saved us is we no longer carry flip charts, papers, markers to the field, and it is more convenient because the tablets have videos that explain how to use a condom, how an IUD works, how, you know. And these tablets we can also use our local languages when we are giving out information to young people. Yeah, meaning they're more user friendly even when we go to remote areas in Port Portal. Stories for Change, digital storytelling for advocacy, a springboard for youth-led advocacy.
Hello, my name is Abu Sen. I'm a peer educator from Port Portal, western part of Uganda. I'm here to talk about Stories for Change workshops where we learned how to create profiles and also create content that tells stories. Our profiles as peer educators who come from Port Portal, who were trained, really talk. When you look at our social media profiles, you will see that this person is a real advocate when it comes to sexual and reproductive health. And also, we learned how to create content that tells stories that bring change and also that change young people's lives. Through this content, we post on our social media. Young people follow us, and really, I can say that they like the content that we create. And through the content, they've learned a lot. For example, we created content on abortion, unsafe abortion, where young people in my community during the lockdown used herbs. For example, traditional herbs to do abortion, and one of the young people resulted to heartache. So we created that content for them to learn from that content. So the content that we create tells stories that change their lives. I can say this is amazing, and yeah.
Eklezia Rugatwa ya Virka na hali entebe nkuru emorelezo isaza ya Fort Portal urusurwayo ndrabwa mwenjura bwo rukuzire nabwe kintu etaga siringisi obuhumbo 2 rundi bilioni 2 sente za Uganda ntukusaba oheyo no bwenda mukama eja kuomgisa mibali sitwe erya mwana nerya moyo mukirire amina.
Fort TV, stay entertained.
Yes, welcome from a short break, and it's a very good topic. I can't say that this is coming at this time. Have you been wondering why certain things are not moving the way you think? Are you looking at the limits, all the challenges that have been there to unlock your financial goals? I know many of us have targets and we want to live by what we want to achieve, but certainly at some areas maybe we do not reach there. But again, there is always this big question: how do the rich make money? Why are others moving very fast or growing financially too fast when others are growing financially? Let me just allow me to use a question mark there. Now, if you look at what we've been sharing today, 1, 2, 3 words can help you to unlock your financial limits. It could be a number of things that we have shared there and there. We have tried to discuss different areas of business. And especially the Capital Tank is a program that positions you or inspires you, mentors you into the business world. We share ideas, we discuss about challenges, and discuss about their solutions. We believe that this is a program that me and you will be helped to move a step ahead. It starts from this, that we understand what holds us. Our guest today has discussed a number of things in the business world. And he tried to explain as deeper as he can to make you and me understand. And it is true that when we learn, we don't make many mistakes. Many of us go into business and make mistakes. It's because sometimes we lack information. We do not get trained. We don't get the best teachers. And because of that, we make blunders and think doing business is too hectic. It's too hard. I understand there are challenges that are in business, and that's what is all about business. As we were going off for a break, we said as we come back, we are going to be looking at something to do with opportunities. There are opportunities, how we come into some of these opportunities. Where there is a problem, there could be a business opportunity. And when our guest was trying to discuss something, there is something that I almost wanted to ask him, but I said it is coming at this segment. Do you ask yourself why people who have money are making more money, and those who don't have money are continuing to lose more of it? It's a question. Now, as we continue and we are trying to wind up on this talk show, it's because time is not becoming enough. And the way we were talking, the information that we have, and everything that we wanted to share today, we are trying to now to go and look at how we can summarize and make it so that we can at least find a way of how we can let this information reach you. Now, from that point, as we were going off for break, you can start from there.
Viewers, I'm grateful for having given us ample time to listen to our deliberations. But time not being our closest ally, I will just summarize and wrap up the issues he has talked about. Taking advantage of problems to untap your potential. You need to identify what are the problems. One of the problems is fear. Because there has always been fear in every undertaking. Fear in the sense that there are two issues in society. There is inferiority complex and superiority complex, whereby someone creates fear out of circumstances. Someone may implant fear in you to take advantage of you, or might seem superior to you so that you don't think at the same level of deliberation. So some people fear to do anything. There are many fears. They don't, because as an entrepreneur on anything, there is what you say, you need to take risks. People fear to take risks. So that fear creates inferiority in someone. So someone who is superior does not fear. He creates an element of being superior and superb in operations. And that creates self-confidence. Unless you have confidence in whatever you're doing, believe in yourself, others to believe you. So people take advantage of whatever they're doing because of no fear or having self-confidence. Then there is another issue of ignorance. Remember, I told you that the success of every undertaking is to be the only one with some secret information. On that base, therefore, some people have been ignorant of whatever takes place. So someone who has proven knowledge to whatever he wants to undertake as an operation or any undertaking will take precedent. So you will have knowledge of over anything. You will be informed where you will have an advantage so that you take over from the other person who has fear or who does not know what is taking place. Then there is another issue of inefficiency. Inefficiency in a sense that some people are inefficient in service delivery, or they did not do what was the mention by the recipients, that is in service delivery. So when people are inefficient in whatever they are doing, others who feel they can handle with anything with the efficiency it deserves, definitely you'll have to take fault on that. But on that, to achieve that, there is a need that in whatever you're doing, there should be availed a conducive environment for operation. So, like you see, now we're in the TV here. You have created an enabling environment. So many people have feared to set up a TV. You have seen many of them talk like politicians. One of the topics top on the agenda that now I will bring you a TV. That is top on the agenda. We are working on it. But these people, our sharp entrepreneurs, they have all hosted us for a couple of years. And I'm very grateful. Because there was a problem of inefficiency in the service delivery. During the COVID time, all things went digital. Communications, chat services. We are very grateful. You helped us, especially in our places of worship. Every Sunday, every time we could get information. We took 1 year when we could not even enter our churches for fear of being infested with COVID-19. Even up today, like I would give an example of our church, St. John's Cathedral, Days of Rwenzori. We already have people in diaspora who listen to our Zoom programs. We already have Rwenzori, Runyoro Toro service, which is always there on every Sunday. And on this Christmas season, our bishop has already sent a message, Christmas message, and I'm sure tomorrow they will also have a Christmas message or service. The bishop of Port Diocese has always been doing that. Our real archbishop, all the archbishops, all the religious leaders in the country have taken advantage. So you have really done.
In the summary, you can give us a summary.
So
as we
what I'm saying, there is one advantage which one should take off, that we should always think big. In a very challenging economic environment, there are two things which we need to offer due consideration. There is networking and lobbying. In everything you see, it is fond of these people in the NGO world and civil society organizations and politicians. Every politician who comes, he says he will do networking. He will lobby for you. So what is important now? For every business undertaking to take root, you should have a lot of networks. Where necessary, to untap what would be called to tap the untapped Siberia, the potential.
Oh.
We are all potential successful people.
The honorable professor now.
See, we should imitate the good and shy away from the bad. So therefore, we should not be Africans to blame other people for our own problems.
Viewers outside there, it's been a long time and we really enjoyed the show, and I believe you have learned a lot, and that's the purpose of this program. Our guest today has been Mr. Kadama Mwangusha Johnson, an entrepreneur, a business person, a leader, and everything. And really, I believe you and me, we could have learned something. I talked about fear, and when I read about the book I wrote, it says that care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. That is Lao Tzu, a Chinese philosopher. So if you are there and you just feel like, maybe I cannot do this because maybe other people, how would other people look at me, or how, then you will always be their prisoner. Don't always miss every Saturday. We are here with different guests, with different experts in different areas to discuss about business. And that's why we have the capital tank, the tank that make the capital into a tank, and that is making money come more. And we have one like how the other time I was saying that the capital tank versus the poverty tank. So if you love what we share on every Saturday, don't miss this program. For now, I say goodbye.